to Roots and Roofs, where we explore the intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship in the real estate world. I am your host, McKenzie Shelton. Join us as we dive into the unique journey of balancing family life with owning a thriving real estate business. Each episode, we will uncover inspiring stories, practical tips, mindset conversations, and expert insights from others who are carving their paths in the real estate industry. Whether you are a seasoned realtor, a prospective buyer, or simply curious about the dynamics of managing both home and career, Roots and Roofs is your go-to podcast for heartfelt discussions and invaluable advice. Tune in and discover how these incredible women are building deep roots from the ground up while nurturing their families under the same roof. Hi everybody, welcome back to Roots and Roofs. I am the host, McKenzie Shelton, and I have a very exciting guest with me today. This is my friend Kim, and we are going to talk all about owning a small business in the Southwest Iowa area. Kim, why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what business you own and are running?
So I own The Acres. It's a wedding venue. It used to be called Cow Patties. It's on the east side of Council Bluffs, and we host weddings, anniversary parties, graduations, and all of the family events in our area. So yeah.
Awesome. So how long have you guys owned The Acres now?
So last month we hit our 2-year mark.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you ended up with this space.
Yeah.
Because I think it's kind of a fun story. So
yeah, it is. So we lived in Colorado just for like 7 years or so, up until the end of 2020. And then when we moved back, there was literally one home for sale in the Underwood, like Neola area, Council Bluffs, like on the east side of Council Bluffs that we were looking to live. And anyway, we ended up buying that house in Underwood, but we just really wanted land. And the house we had was in town. My brother said, why don't you just go door knock on the Osdemores and see if they're interested. And it was perfect timing because so many people had already done that, but they said no to them. And then we kind of told them what our dream for the place was, and they loved it. And they're both in their 70s, I believe, and so it was kind of like this perfect timing. And but Joy wanted to have one more Christmas in her home.
Yeah.
So we did that, got through the holidays, and then we moved in January of 2023.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
It was really cool. We renovated the place also while trying to like renovate the house with 4 kids and I think 3 dogs at the time. So it was a lot.
As someone who just went through a home renovation this last year, we basically renovated most of our main level of our house. I can understand and appreciate that. It's chaos.
It is. And this is like, we've owned 16 homes in our marriage, and we've been married for 17 years.
You have owned 16?
We've owned 16 homes.
Oh my God.
I know. I think it might be a world record, but that doesn't touch how many times I moved as a kid. So, but every one of those homes except one, we did a large renovation to just about every one of them.
Oh
yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, I know.
Glutton for punishment, huh?
Well, honestly, I'm too old for doing this. Like, and we're kind of slow. We still have a lot to do with this house, but I'm like, it's okay if it doesn't get done. The kitchen just got done, and working on we just put in this huge 12-foot door in the dining room, so it looks really good. But it's the parts of the house that I really spend time with the kids that I'm like, this is what needs to be done. My bedroom can wait, everything else can wait. So
yes, that's
yeah.
I'm having to learn this as well because I lack patience and just want to do everything all right now. And poor Jack is usually the one doing most of the work.
I can only do so much, yes. And they still want to have fun and spend time with us and work their normal job that they actually get paid for. Because we ain't paying them.
No, I know. Jack actually sent me a reel yesterday that was you thought that you were marrying this very low-key, not very bougie woman, but she's sure as hell gonna put you to work.
Yes. And don't forget the chickens.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah.
So what kind of happened really after you guys were able to do some of the renovation? Like, what were some of the steps that you guys had to take in order for it to be an operational, business?
Yeah. So when we purchased the property, it's kind of a long story, but the gist of it is that we purchased it thinking it was a commercial property.
Okay.
It's commercial on potco.org, like the building is.
Yeah.
But we found out like 12 years earlier, when we went to get a liquor license, we found out that no, it's not commercial. And then you find out you have to go in front of the board of supervisors. You have to go in front of, you have to do all these applications to go in front of them. And there was a lot of stress with that because it's a whole boys club.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you hear a lot about with having your real estate license and stuff like that. I've never really experienced, I've heard about that, but I've never really experienced it to that extent, to the point where, you spend your life savings on a property that you believe is going to be an income producing property. You can stay, which I've never stayed in one place for more than like 2.5, 3 years. And we think we're going to put our roots down, and then we find out that we can't operate. So long story short, we went through this whole thing and then got an attorney and just got grandfathered in.
Oh, great.
Yes. So we're not allowed, there's like restrictions, but it's everything that we want.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
So we're happy with it. You just learn a lot through it, and it also, it's not just you just feel this hurt for other small businesses that are in the area that are dealing with the same thing that might not be as successful as you as far as getting things approved and being able to actually move forward with the dream that you have.
Wow, that's
crazy. It's really sad. There's a few things in the county that are going on that are really wild, but we're open and we're going, and the community loves having us because we have a different type of business plan than a lot of venues in the area do.
Okay. Let's talk a little about that.
Yes. Okay. So we got married 17 and a half years ago, and there really wasn't a place for us to get married and be able to pick and choose what we spend our money on, right? Which that's just the reality of getting married if you want to have a wedding.
Yeah.
When we bought this place, we had so many different options, and at our core, we love people. We love people. And I'm a firm believer, if you do things right, business will come.
Absolutely.
Right?
Agreed. Yes. That's the same in my industry.
I was going to say,
yeah.
You don't become a successful realtor by doing wrong by people that are paying you, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So anyway, we kind of came up with a plan that we were going to be we were just going to do a flat rate.
Okay.
So we charge a fee. With that comes a single bartender, a cleaning fee. We set up the tables and chairs. We tear down the tables and chairs. We do a final walkthrough just to ease their mind. We will draw it up for them and send it over and get their approval before we set up. We're there to help with just about everything, and but also within that, they can bring in their own food.
Oh, that's
I
great.
mean, everybody's got an awesome uncle that wants to smoke meat and gift that to the bride and groom.
Yes.
So they can bring their smoker on site. They can make tacos if they want to. They can cater in traditionally, or they can have a food truck. We have a couple food trucks coming out this month. I get super excited about all the food because everybody wants to feed us. So we're always like, okay, so.
I love that.
Yes, I mean, they're setting us up so that we're nice and full for the winter time, we're going to hibernate or something. And then also with that, you get to bring in your own alcohol.
Okay.
And so there is no bar tab at the end of the night. It saves you thousands of dollars.
No
And
kidding.
it's been a really cool experience to see the appreciation for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, tell me a little bit, just because you brought it up, what are the restrictions that you guys have around alcohol? I'm sure, some of my listeners would just be kind of curious about that.
Yeah. So we don't have a liquor license.
Okay.
We're on gravel. So the requirement from the county was that we become a winery.
Oh.
So not just grow grapes, but like crush
Process.
them,
Yeah.
ferment them, bottle them, buy the equipment that does all this stuff for you. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm sure. Or we could pave our entire road for, I think the bid was like 2 years ago in April, it was like $360,000 or $380,000. So you're talking about like another home that you can purchase for that cost. Like,
Yeah.
So our route is to do a BYOB policy.
Okay.
And when we say that, we don't mean like frat party BYOB.
Yeah.
We mean like, we run a business. You want to make sure that bar line is efficient.
Yeah.
So we have restrictions as far as like how many bottles of different types of alcohol they can bring, cans and stuff like that. But it's way more than what anybody needs.
Sure.
We just don't need somebody bringing 80 like half open bottles of liquor because it's happened.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, and that's been a little struggle. But what you do is when you have a situation like that, you deal with the situation, because it's still a special day for that person.
Absolutely.
And then you walk away and you think, how do I make sure this doesn't happen again?
Yeah.
So then you put up boundaries for yourself for the next set. So
Right.
so that's kind of how we do it, and everybody's really pleased. So we just have like basically an open bar, and then our bartenders work on tips
Okay.
also. Yep.
Awesome.
Great bartenders.
That is great.
Yeah.
So, since we're kind of talking about maybe some specific events that you guys have held, what have been some of the most memorable or meaningful events that you guys have had the opportunity to host so far?
Yeah. That's a really great question. We have like a few that really stand out. Last October, I jumped in the car, drove to Colorado to get that big door I was telling you about.
Oh, yes.
Found it in Colorado, and but I was supposed to leave on, I think like on a Thursday or on a Wednesday, but a wedding was coming up, and I had been working with the bride and groom, and I was so excited for this wedding, and I still talk with them. They are the cutest couple, and I'm sure they know who I'm talking about because anytime I see them on social media, I'm like, you're so cute. But they're amazing, and they're just like, it was like it was everybody's day and not just their day.
Yeah.
Is the way that they treated everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many like hugs and thank yous we got, that as if it was like an event that was mine.
Oh.
Like they were celebrating. It was just, they're just giving and loving people. And we've had a handful of those. But that one just really stands out just because also their family, it's actually the groom's family as a whole, I think they've rented out our space 12 times now as a whole.
Holy cow.
So they're like diehard repeat guests. We
That's
just had
so wonderful.
Yes, we just had one of the cousins of the groom, his nephew just had a birthday out at our place. But they rent for Christmas, they rent for birthday parties, school like reunions and stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
It's really cool.
That
we
is
love
so
them.
cool.
Yeah.
That's such a testament though to you guys as a business, right? So I feel like businesses that can get repeat referral, customers, because I deal with this in my business as well, right? If I do a good job for you, I would hope that you would also, tell somebody else that I did a good job so that then I can keep my business going, you know? And that's amazing. I think that's so cool.
There's no better compliment than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we get a lot of people that are coming as guests that end up, will like pull us aside and ask us about our, our policies, our pricing. I just went to Idaho last week for a friend's wedding, and I got a call from, it was a mom of the groom from a week before, and once she was out, she's like, I gotta have my son's graduation here. And it's like, that's really, it's so neat. And what that bride did, I was actually not feeling well that day, so they didn't see me a whole lot. My husband was there a lot.
Yeah.
But at the end of the night, the bride found my husband and she had so many like small and different sizes in different colored vases for her wedding
with
real flowers. They had this whole flower train in the morning of them cutting and preparing them. And she found my husband at the end of her night of her wedding, and she said, I picked these flowers out for your wife. I thought they were just as beautiful as she is.
Oh my gosh.
On her wedding day.
That is so sweet.
Yes. So I've been talking with her yesterday and today. We've been texting a little bit, but they just bought a house. It's just really cool because it's not just, you're not just having bride and grooms. Like, you want to see them when they have like their baby shower and their kids' graduations and all that stuff. So it's really neat. It's cool that they still want to talk to you after the transaction's, really done. So it's pretty cool.
That is so neat.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Oh my gosh, that almost makes me a little emotional.
If it was 2 days ago, I probably would have cried. I've been very emotional. All those touchy things just been hitting me different as I age.
I know. Same here. Agree. So, what does a typical day look like for you as a mom of 4?
Oh, yes.
And a basically full-time business owner at this point?
Yeah, and I'm a handful all by myself. So I struggle with myself. So the kids, I've got one that's driving, so she drives the kids to school. So my morning is less involved with the kids other than just moral support as they're getting ready and making sure the chickens get let out. They get off at the right time, when really they leave way earlier than what I would suggest that they leave, but they're way more responsible than I am. They get that from my husband.
I was gonna say, is that a testament to you or to him?
I'm the fun one. So
there always is one in a couple. It's not me.
You're not the fun one?
I am not the fun one.
Oh,
no.
Jack's the fun one?
Jack is the fun one.
Really?
Yes.
I see him at the gym and he seems so serious. So I would assume that that's just his life.
No.
He works hard at the gym and then he's fun outside of that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to change that.
I would love to be the fun one, but in all seriousness, I can't do it. I've tried. It's just not in me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's okay.
I have a hard time not being the fun one. I've tried to grow up, and I feel like COVID really did make me grow up, and also owning businesses really does make you grow up. You go through different challenges, but the trick is to make sure you do not become bitter.
Agreed.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where those boundaries come up. I know I kind of changed the subject, but
that's okay.
That's where those boundaries kind of come up, because it's really easy to go through life and to, especially when your job entails working with people. Everybody's so different.
Yes.
And everybody has a different way of delivering their thoughts.
Yes.
Sometimes it doesn't come off right. Sometimes it doesn't come off right, from us, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
It's just making sure you don't get bitter is a major thing. And my brother, I think, has mastered that. You should have him on your show. My brother's amazing.
Okay.
Yes, he would. He's the fun one. In fact, it's funny, when I moved back from Colorado, I was introducing him to a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, you got to come. We're going to go do this. And he said, okay. And I said, well, I told her that, or maybe it was a guy, I don't even remember who it was. And but I said, I told them that you're just like me, but way cooler. And he goes, what? What did you say? And so I repeated. He goes, that's what I tell all of my friends about me.
Oh my gosh!
Isn't that so
funny.
Awesome? It's like, wow, we're both so cool. But he really is way cooler, though.
Oh.
But anyway, to go back to, you were asking me a question.
Yeah, so just about what does a typical day kind of look like for you as far as running the business and juggling kids and all the things that you have going on?
Yeah, so I take care of what needs to be done in the morning, and then I like to hit up the gym, which I know that you do too. I've seen you a lot there. I feel like you're working while you're there. Am I wrong?
Usually I am, yes.
Okay.
I am trying to get better. We were talking about boundaries.
Yes.
I am trying to get better about not also taking calls and texts while I'm working out, because honestly, like, work is very stressful for me, and usually the things that are going on with real estate are stressful. They just are,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and so it's like I need to really be kind of sacred with that time,
Yeah.
because it's supposed to be a de-stressor, and
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not always making it that way. So
yeah. She's always working. So I hope her clients hear that. So then I go to the gym, and then I usually will do some computer work.
Mhm.
I'm constantly trying to stay up on everything, because every client, I call them guests. Every guest is, their needs are different.
Yeah.
Their expectations are different. The level of need is different. And we have some that will stand out. Like I just did a final walkthrough yesterday. I think I've communicated with them a few times. They are the most low maintenance. They actually booked with us in January.
Oh.
I think at the end of January, and they're getting married in June.
Wow.
I know. And I'm like, how did you guys have time? They're like, it wasn't that hard. I'm like, okay, well, I had a 2-week engagement, but I went to the courthouse, so it was a little different.
I was engaged for 13 days, so I feel that.
You beat me. I
Yeah.
haven't known anyone that's beat me before.
Well, as my husband would say, now our second child actually was, he kind of ruined the surprise, because my husband took my 2 older boys with him to pick out the ring and had showed it to them. And
no.
so
How old were they at the time?
Easton was 5 at the time, and he.
So it's kind of on Jack for sharing that.
It's okay. Easton's not much of a secret keeper, so yeah, he probably should have known that's how that was gonna go. But I knew that he had the ring, and so I knew that I just wanted to go to the courthouse, and so I basically like planned everything out before I knew that he was actually going to propose. And so I already had the date picked out, because I always wanted to get married around New Year's Eve, and so December.
Really?
Yes, yeah. I
Wow.
don't know. I just think it's pretty, and the Christmas lights are still up, and all of those things. So we got married December 30th, and he proposed to me December 17th. I think was the day. So
wow.
Yeah.
We got married in December as well.
Really?
Did you know that New Year's Eve is I guess as of like last year, is the number one day for engagements? It's like the most engagements happen on that day. I would have never guessed, but there's fireworks, just like you said. There's fireworks, there's Christmas lights. I mean, who doesn't love the holidays?
Yes.
It's like I look forward to it. I want to skip over the summer and the humidity and just go straight for that, but then you wouldn't appreciate it at the end of the year, I don't think.
Absolutely. Agreed. Yeah. No, that is funny. And then we ended up having like a party like a few months later or whatever, but we did just like a really quick courthouse thing, and but my husband will say that he totally thought that we were going to have a year-long engagement, and I was like, no.
You're like, no.
I was like, we're just gonna go do this.
Wow, and you say you're not the fun one. Wow, you kept him on his toes.
I'm not fun, because I had it all planned out before it was even happening.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you go on vacation, do you know where your stops are at?
So I've tried to get better about this as I've gotten older.
Okay. Mostly
because Jack tells me I need to just chill out.
I feel like you and Adam would get along really well.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But literally, yes, I am the one that like wants to plan everything out and know exactly what we're doing and all the things. And he's like, McKenzie, we can just like enjoy our time.
We can like pick a meal when the time comes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm getting better.
I don't like to know anything. I don't want to know. I mean, I like my schedule, and I've gotten better at that being a business owner, but outside of that, like, we're planning a trip in July. It's going to be 2 weeks. We're going to the East Coast. Our oldest has a goal to hit all 50 states by the time she's 18, so we got a year and a half. She's got like 8 or 10 states left. That's it.
Wow.
And so after this, it'll be Michigan, Hawaii, Alaska, and North Dakota.
Oh my goodness.
That's it. So we're like, okay, so we're going to make this trip. And all I know, in Memphis, better not watch this. She's my third. I'm taking her to an I Love Lucy museum. No one else wants to go. No one else, like, is interested. But that was my favorite show as a kid, and that's her favorite show.
Oh, I love that.
a mini me. She doesn't look like I gave birth to her, but her personality is me, but she's like way more cool, like just super, super cool. Anyway, so, but I don't know what else we're doing. I don't care. I don't know if we're going to do hotels or Airbnb, or the kids really want to do an RV. Like, I don't care.
Okay.
Yes. So we'll see. Hopefully we don't like get lost.
So the one trip that I took that we did not have like a plan was actually with an ex-boyfriend.
Ooh.
When I was like 21 or 21, somewhere in there. And we just like started driving. We like took the time off work, but like we just started driving. We didn't
You
know
packed and everything.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And
okay.
we didn't know where we were going. And we actually ended up in Memphis, Tennessee. But to be honest, how we ended up, like, we just kind of basically started heading south, you know. It was not very enjoyable for me because, again, I didn't.
Old boyfriend.
Yeah, well, that and we didn't know where we were going,
Oh,
and
sure.
we ended up hitting like really bad storms, and so I was like,
This is your fault.
Yes,
Yes.
I was like telling him, I was like, we should have just planned where we were going.
Yeah.
So,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a whole thing for you.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
see, I would rather like my Marshall, who's 11. I'll talk to him about going on a trip, and he has no idea. Like, I'm like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care. He'll just get in the car, and I feel like I'm a lot like that.
Yeah.
I do care very much about food, though. That's like
Oh.
that's the major thing. I like snacks on the ride, but I don't like to buy them ahead of time. I want to like I get enjoyment from stopping
Oh
and
my
not
goodness.
knowing what I'm gonna get. I know it's weird because I feel like I can have chips and like candy and stuff in the car, but I always want something outside of it.
Oh,
Isn't that weird?
That is so funny.
But sunflower seeds is definitely a staple.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting.
I know.
Well, going back to
Yes.
some of the questions here, since you are the fun one
Yes.
in your
So fun.
marriage, do you have like any systems or support kind of in place for your business to be able to kind of keep that and your household running well?
Yeah. So my motto is to not sacrifice my household's peace.
Okay.
That is something that is, I don't have parents. I don't have, my brother's amazing, but not in a supporting for like business or anything like that. Like he's someone that if I needed anything, I mean, him and I talk sometimes for hours a day. And my husband's always like multiple times a day for hours a day, but we just really get along. Him and I get along really well. But it is, from the beginning, it's always been my husband and my kids, which was really challenging at first, but it really teaches you like you have no one else.
Yeah.
So even when you're pissed, you still have to work things through. Like you can be upset or whatever, but we're always there for each other. So he's really good at trying to, like, I'm one that if I do something, I'll think about it and I'm like, oh, I could have handled that better. It's always a work in progress.
Sure.
He'll fall asleep at night and not think twice about anything he did, right? Not me. I'm up to midnight when I like laid down at like 9:30 or something like that. So I'm not that fun. I'm in bed early. But he's always like, you did what you needed to do and like you haven't, but so that is my support.
Sure.
And while he's right most of the time, it still takes yourself trying to like learn how to like have grace with yourself,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Because your heart is still there. So even though something may have happened, or you get yourself in a pickle, we always have each other. So, and I don't mean that in a really corny way. We went through like a whole business thing with a prior business, and through the whole thing, like he was there, and if I didn't have peace in my home,
Yeah.
I would not still have the acres. I can tell you that. I mean,
For sure.
it was a really, really challenging time, and it's not like he belittles my feelings. He's just there for the reality of it.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's like,
We
okay,
all need that, right?
we do, but we all don't accept it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like, and I tell the kids, like, okay, I know you're hurting right now. I listen. Time goes on, and it's like, okay, cry, but then you're going to move on and you're going to give grace to yourself.
Yes.
Super important.
I have to even do this in my business with my team, right? Agents are sometimes their own, worst enemy, worst critic. And especially if one of them has something kind of personal going on, in their lives, it's one of those things where it's like, I am going to listen, I'm going to maybe give you some suggestions on, what you can do to kind of improve your situation or, kind of get yourself out of this hole. And at the same time, like, we got to move on, right? Because
have your moment, and then let it go. Because there's really not a lot you can do other than, like I said before, like, okay, how do I make sure that I don't do this again, or I don't get myself in a situation where I was too kind and then taken advantage of, or there's so many different scenarios. But it is very important to move on, because you cannot dwell. Otherwise, your business will suffer, your home life will suffer. And women, we just have this way about us that we want to do the best, right? Yes.
Yeah, mom guilt can be like really.
Well, I bet you have that mom guilt with like the people on your team. Isn't
yes,
that type?
yes.
Right.
It's very weird. As I've now owned my business for almost 6 years, and there is a very core group that have now like been a part of the team for basically 3+ years at this point.
Oh wow.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I sometimes lay awake at night thinking about them, and like it's like things that I have no control over, but you're like, oh my gosh, I just hope that they figure it out, or they get out of this, or they all of those
or
things.
Very least like learn from it so it doesn't happen again, because it can affect your business.
Yes,
right,
absolutely.
And it could possibly, like, I mean, I had my real estate license back in the day, but people come and go because they can't really handle it, or they can't let something go, or they can't take responsibility for something and then move on.
That is probably the number one thing. Okay. Just not, kind of looking inwardly and saying, okay, what was my role in this? And that's where I honestly see a lot of people fail, is not being able to be introspective. And
but see, that doesn't, like, I can't understand that.
Really?
I can't. You ask my husband, I apologize. And I teach the kids there's nothing more respectful or respectable than apologizing. And we just had this issue with our oldest because she's just like my husband. My husband has taken years to be like, I'm going to apologize without a but. And he's 40 now. And he will watch this and he'll be like, yep, that's true. But he's amazing. But anyway, we all go through things as we're learning and growing, and we don't have it all figured out as adults, No. And so Maddie is, she'll do something, and then the next morning she just acts like it didn't happen. And, my feelings get hurt, but I'm the mom, so it's like, okay. But Adam used to do that for years. And I always let it go because, like my brother says, he goes, I don't know if it's laziness, but it's just too hard to hold on to a grudge.
Yeah, agreed.
And you don't want, when you hold on to a grudge, it also affects your life. Like, you're not allowed to, okay, well, I'm mad at this person, right? You can't do that. Like, we're not in school anymore, so you have to let all that stuff go. Well, I had a talk with Maddie the next day. Her dad, Adam was like, you can't do that to your mom. And she goes, I just have a really hard time apologizing. So I said, do you have a hard time accepting my apology when I'm wrong? Because I apologize all the time. I'm wrong all the time. But I learned from it. She goes, no, I love when you apologize. And I'm like, okay, well, I would love it if I got an apology when needed. And it really hit her. Mm-hmm. Because she doesn't think about that. She thinks, like, this is uncomfortable for me. And really what I did wasn't that bad, so I don't have to, like, address it. But it's those little apologies that really, and looking inward. That's a hard thing for people.
It is. This has been like a skill that I've had to learn. I am probably more like your husband or your daughter when I want to say I'm sorry, but it's usually with a but. However, usually what it is for me, like, especially if this was like something in my marriage, what it is for me is I haven't taken the time to really think about it, right? So I want
to just emotion.
Yes.
Okay.
So I want to say I'm sorry, right?
Yes.
Like I'm like, oh, I really did not like intentionally, hurt your feelings or, do something in that regard. So I want to say I'm quick to say I'm sorry, but I haven't really thought about the actual apology, right?
Sure. So it's just like a gateway into the conversation.
Exactly.
Right. Yes. Okay, I get that.
So I'm having to like learn this. I'm 37, right?
Yeah. I didn't realize we were the same age.
Yes, we are.
Wow. I thought I was the old broad in the room.
Oh no.
Okay, so what time do you go to bed at?
Oh, like 9:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
oh yes.
It's like the cool thing to do.
Oh, it is.
So you are fun.
Yeah.
Well, you're as fun as I am when it comes to bedtime. Anyway.
Yeah. Yes. It's mostly because I want to get up earlier and like just kind of enjoy some peace and quiet.
Yeah.
I actually this was back at the end of 2018, going into 2019, kind of into 2020. I was getting up at 5:00 every morning.
Oh yeah.
And going to the gym and
you did like 75 hard, didn't you?
That was last year. Yes.
Okay.
So this was several years ago.
Okay.
I would get up and I would just go to the the Underwood High School and go to the gym and then come home. And this was back when Jack was still doing plumbing, so he would leave at about 6:30. So I kind of needed to be back by the time he left or whatever. But what ended up happening in this time frame was I would get back at about 6:00. And I didn't have to get my kids up until about 7.
Oh.
And so I had this whole hour.
What would you do?
Just so what ended up happening was I would either like read a book or I would actually work and do and like reach back out to some of my clients or different things like that from the day before or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it kind of turned into this like hour where I was just very uninterrupted, with like no little kids, bothering me and all these things. I don't get up at 5 like really hardly ever anymore, but that's because my life has kind of shifted. In different
stages.
Ways. Yes, exactly.
The kids probably can get off to school on their own.
Pretty much,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Scout, he still needs some help. Tessa goes to part-time, preschool at Heartland.
I can't believe how you have older kids and then you have younger kids.
I know.
And like such a gap.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I know. I'm like Ellie.
You are like Ellie. Ellie.
Yes.
Yes. We just went to a track meet, I think yesterday or the day before together, and she's pushing her baby. And I'm like, and then we run into a gal from, years ago that Ellie knows, and she's like, oh, do you remember we used to go to the zoo? And like, we're out of that stage. Well, Ellie's getting back into it. It's just, but it's so cool to see her as a mom, like almost like a second time around, right? It's so different. So, and you appreciate it differently when you're older, I feel like.
So that's been like, honestly, kind of talking more about mom stuff, right? Like that's been one of the really cool things about having older kids and younger kids is I was a very young mom with the older two, and I feel like I was just always in a hurry, like a hurry to do the next thing, a hurry to do, and I just didn't really take the time to like appreciate all of their life stages that they were going through, and some, and I was also really trying to get my career going and things like that, and so I just felt like I was hurrying them all the time, you know. While I wish I could go back and change that, we all can't, right?
But again, you learn from it.
Yes, and what's been really fun to see them as teenagers now is like, I am slowing down and taking the time and even just saying like, I literally said to Easton last night, so he's my freshman, we were at Scout's soccer game, and he had text Jack and said, I just want to go work out with a couple of his buddies up at the high school, okay? And so we were like, yeah, that's fine, you can go do that. And I was thinking about it on the drive home, I was like, I am so lucky to have a 15-year-old kid who I did not worry for a second that he was actually going to the gym, right?
Oh, wow.
Like, I was not a great teenager. Like, I would have probably lied about something like that, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So it was just very like refreshing to be like, I know exactly where he is, and that is what he's doing, and he's not getting into trouble and all these things. So then when I got home later, he was in the kitchen, and I was like, you know what, but I just want to tell you that I'm really grateful and appreciative that you are a good kid, you know, and that I didn't have to worry that you were actually at the gym, you know. And like, it's little things like that like I didn't do when they were little, that it's
now
just...
Are you feeling like you're appreciating it now because your time with them is getting shorter,
you know,
or is it because you have young kids that's reminding you of that?
Yes, so I think it's more the fact that like I have little kids that I literally think about, like, okay, how can I make sure to like slow down and appreciate every single thing that's kind of happening with them to the best of my ability. And then that kind of translates over to like, what do I need to appreciate about my teenagers, you know? So it's just kind of twofold.
So I've got a 16, 15, almost 14 and 12-year-old, and super close together, and having 4 within 4.5 years was a ton.
No kidding. I don't know how you did that.
It was, well, I don't think anyone would ever enter into that knowing what like it entails, because it's hard. It's like I was a social butterfly, and then you go to not being a social butterfly because you're home with the kids, and then your husband comes home exhausted, so then they're not even around to talk to, and then all of your friends, because I was like, you know, I got married at 19 and had kids all 4 by the time I was 25. All of them are still having fun. They're not like wanting to hang out with a mom who's like driving a minivan, like, you know, like that's not cool. But I was never close with my mom. My dad and I were so close, and having girls, I have 3 girls, and the youngest is a boy. I always thought that there would be some sort of like lack of a relationship just by default.
Sure.
I always listened. Like when they were mumbling, and you know, they got like a banana in their mouth and they're like smearing it on the wall or your leg as they're trying to talk to you and stuff, I always stopped and I always looked at them when they talked to me. And sometimes I'd even have to go and I'd say, yes, but that was my way of like
connecting.
Yes, and not like punching the wall, because you know, like your insides tremble when you are like at different stages of raising them, and like, you know, times are just harder. But now they have boyfriends. They are so I'll have 3 in high school next year, come August, and you know, of this year, I guess. Wow. And his school's out next week, right?
Yes.
But they screenshot conversations. Like, one of my girls has a boy that is, his goal is to tell her she's beautiful in different ways. And he told his little brother, and then his little brother told my son. And he accomplishes that every day. And so she's always like so flattered, but sometimes she's like, how do I respond? Because I don't want him feeling like, she's super thoughtful, but like, I don't have to ask about any of that. Or like,
you don't have to pull it out of them.
No. And if one is like, okay, I'm going to a dance, what if he holds my hand? It's like, I love that hand holding is a huge deal.
Yes.
And that's how it should be.
Yes.
Right? At, you know, 15 and 16 years old. But it growing up, that was like 14 or younger or something,
absolutely.
Right? Like it's I love the innocence that
COVID
they have.
kind of changed a lot of that for that generation of kids, because they like went so long without having like kind of some of those like, because like my oldest would have been in 7th grade. I think
when COVID hit?
Yes, he would have been in 7th grade. So
how old is your oldest?
He's 16.
He's 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it was like 7th grade and 5th grade. So they kind of like lost some of that like middle school. You know,
like being able to like, and then also social media.
Yes.
That's a thing. Like their kids don't have social media. They don't have smartphones. So they are.
I wish we would see.
We did talk about this.
Yes,
that's
we
right.
had. Yeah, I wish we would have waited. So
we only did the cell phones because the girls babysit. And
we were never like against having some sort of way for them to stay in communication with us, because as they get older, they're not around us as much, you know. We just, I don't know if we just maybe didn't think long enough about it, or what the, you know.
Yeah, and I think that when we learned about the Gab phones, which is what they have now, we weren't aware of it. Like when we learned, like when someone told us about it, that was like our first time learning about it.
Yeah.
So then we researched it, and it's like, oh wow, this is a really great option, because otherwise there wasn't going to be a cell phone. So it's really locked down, and they ask every year for a phone. You know? When Maddie turned 16, she's like, can I have, and I had to tell her, like, this isn't about you, it's about the other people on the other side. Like, you don't really know who you're speaking to. And when you put it that way, she understands, but I think it's hard because it's like everybody else has it. Everybody else is in class doing Snapchat.
Yes, yeah.
But it also, you see how quickly they grow up, and like how grown up they want to act, and you can see it's unnatural, but it's something that they try so hard. It's like they're skipping a whole part of their youth trying to, you know, appear like a young 20-something. It's crazy, and some of them don't even have to try because they just look it, and it's like, no.
Well, and I think that this is definitely more prevalent in females than males, because like as having two teenage boys, while they do have social media and Snapchat and things like that, we obviously pay for their phones so we can look at it whenever they want. And so one of the things is like, you better be on your best behavior, or guess what, you don't get a phone.
Do you just take it randomly and read it? Okay.
But also, like, they, same thing with like what you just said, like they're really good about sharing things. Like we're not, you know, boys are a little different because they're not as chatty, right? So I do have
to
they're
not as deep.
Yes. So I do have to, like, sometimes, you know, get them to, I have to ask questions, you know, to like get things out of them, but they will share, right? There's not a whole lot that I feel like they want to.
You have no idea how rare that is. I don't know if you're like noticing that with like the friend groups and stuff, but kids don't want to share things with their parents to the point where, like, when your kid, like when my kid shares something, the kids at school are like, what the heck? And it's like, we're best friends. I mean, I'm obviously like a mom first, but like, I don't try to pull anything out of them. They just are like, oh, guess that. Like, Maddie came home last night from work. She works at 712 in Council Bluffs, and loves that job. So thank you, Devin, for getting her that job. But she loves the job. She loves everybody she works with. But she comes home, crawls into bed with me, and I have to kick her out. It's been an hour and 20 minutes, and Adam's laying next to me. His eyeballs can hardly stay open. Right before that, Monroe came in and just literally lays on top of me. And she, like, she's taller than me, so she kind of swallows up my entire body. And anyway, it's just really interesting. But you cherish that because you worry that it won't always be there. But I've been warned that they would quit being like that, like, at the end of elementary school. Well, then we went through junior high. Now we're in high school, and nothing's changed other than it's just gotten stronger.
Yeah, that's good.
It is.
That's
really
a testament to you as a parent, right?
Yes, I like to think so. Yeah.
I mean, we're all doing the best that we can, right? I feel I don't feel like, well, maybe there are some parents out there that aren't, but like I feel like the majority of parents that I have the opportunity to be friends with and interact with, like, they're doing the best that they can.
Oh, sure.
But yes, Jaden just recently, he's 16. He recently got a new girlfriend, you know, and
I need the update on that.
Yes, yeah. But the really nice thing was, I said, okay, so are you going to bring her over, you know, and introduce us to us? And he was like, no hesitation, like, yeah, when can she come over, you know, that sort of thing. So yes, it's fun to like watch that as they get older. Again, I had 3 brothers, and my mom kind of prepared me for, like, you know, just how different, like, your relationships will be with, you know, like, your sons versus, like, a daughter sort of thing.
Okay.
And my mom always just said, you're gonna have to like kind of coax things out of them. But
Really?
yeah.
Okay, I haven't gotten there with Marshall. That kid does not shut up. But it's not about like feelings. But he did go through a time where he had a really bad temper. I don't know where he got that from. We call it little man syndrome in our family.
Oh,
and it's something you have to like, and we only call it that just because like we're all short people.
Sure.
But he takes after my side, and he would, instead of saying, "Oh, this like really upset me," he would like, slam a door. So then I would tell him, who else has a temper? So I had to go through that. Now he'll share things if he's upset, but nothing really bothers them though,
Yeah, well, and it's more about
different.
Teaching them how to find the words. So like I'm dealing with this right now with Tessa, right? She's a toddler,
Right.
She like apparently she had a little interaction with a little girl at school. And I don't know the whole story because the teacher didn't see the whole, thing happen. But then of course I asked her about it, and we've been using this word a lot when she gets upset. Like I'm like, are you frustrated? Are you mad? Like using like the word.
Use that word.
Yes, so she literally said, I was frustrated.
Oh.
And I was like, what were you frustrated about? And she couldn't really tell me, but it's like teaching them to identify, like it's more about identifying what are they really upset about, and putting words with it.
My brother is 39, and we've had conversations, and he has said, I can't verbalize it. And he's amazing, and you see him and he never wants to stay mad, but sometimes you have to talk about things to like get past it.
Yes. And
he physically can't go past that. And my dad, I think my dad committed suicide.
Yeah.
And so there's always this worry because specifically with boys, like, so I've been very like, I've been on Marshall about being able to like share his feelings, and it, you really only have to do that for so long, and then it just becomes who they are. But he's just really easygoing. But if something bothers him, he'll talk to me about it. But it's always a worry. And so even when he was younger, I would tell him like, they called him Pop Pop, my dad Pop Pop, and so Pop Pop would like. Just didn't know really how to share. And maybe if he had, maybe he would still be here, and so
it's a problem for men, right?
It's a huge problem for men, and it's like, my feelings matter, why doesn't my husband's feelings matter? And so when him and I will get into it about something, and he's like, I shouldn't have said anything, it's like, no, this is normal to discuss it. I'm not putting your feelings down, you're just having to like, you don't just get to say it and walk away. You know what I mean? Like, give it a little bit more time and like
and have
elaborate.
A discussion.
Yes. Because your feelings do matter, but I might not understand because I didn't mean it that way.
Right.
But the guys they need to. Sometimes they're just so overlooked.
Yes.
And they're workhorses, and they do, and they do, and they do.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a problem. So I push for Adam to share stuff, but he's only gotten better at it as he's like literally entered into his 40th year. Yeah,
I mean, this is I think that this is just men in general, but I'm referring to my husband in this circumstance too. Like I know. Maybe we have gotten really good response from the podcast that we did together.
I watched it last night.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Was it? Have you only done one together? Okay.
Yeah.
It's the video one.
Yeah.
Yep. I watched it.
Awesome.
Where was it filmed at? Because the back was blurred, wasn't it?
Yes, it was just at our house. Yeah.
Okay.
My house was probably messy that day, so it was like.
I don't like people really seeing the inside of my home.
Yeah.
It's my private place.
Agreed. Yes. But so we, one of the things that we've kind of struggled with this too, and it's mostly because his mom is amazing and all of those things, but men are taught by other men not to really like share things like that, right? And so it's kind of like, not like retraining them, but kind of saying like, no, it's okay, like if you are upset with me, like you can come and tell me that you're upset with me. I am not perfect, I never said I was, and also like I'm not going to be able to know how to treat you better in the future or
you
have
never
a
know.
my biggest thing is have you ever heard of the book Love and Respect? Okay, so Jack and I both read this book together. It's amazing.
Love and Respect. Okay.
It is written by a I think he was a pastor in a past life, but anyway, he it's a very religious aspect to marriage, to men and women. The whole premise of the book is that women want love and men want respect.
Oh, 100%.
And we don't talk the same language, okay? And
interesting.
And that's where most of our conflict comes from, right? So we read this book a few years ago, and I think it actually honestly helped Jack probably more than it helped me, because he learned how to communicate with me that I was not showing him respect. Right?
Yeah, because that's not really something we're taught. Like,
no,
you like respect your elders. You respect, like, and the respect's there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting.
Yes. So he's helped, like, basically teach me, like, what does respect mean for him. So, like, in the sense I'm saying it does help me, but really it's helping him feel respected in our marriage, right?
Right. Because there's a different way of showing it. Like, he loves you, but how do you need to be loved?
Exactly.
So then it's, wow, that's really interesting.
Yes.
I'll have to look that up.
So like just very simple things like, I did not realize that sometimes like my tone comes across as very disrespectful to him.
The
right?
tone. Yes. I deal with tone in the house all the time.
Yes.
I didn't say it that way. It's like, oh, I wish I recorded you.
Yeah, right.
Because if I talk to you that way, I know you'd have a fit about it. But they're like, well, I didn't do it. It's like, that's interesting. Yeah. So the tone.
And so like for me, just very simple, like when it doesn't even have to be directly related to him, right? But if I'm just like annoyed in general, like my tone comes across really, really annoyed, right?
Directed at him.
But directed at him. And it's like, and he's like, you are like not talking respectfully to me at all. And it's like, oh, you're right, I'm not. Like,
so has he said that, like, did he realize that was a thing for himself?
So that's the thing. The book kind of talks about how like that's how men communicate with each other, right? It's like it's all
so it's
about
like an unspoken rule.
Yes.
And then
so
they want it from their wife.
Yes, but it's like they don't know how to communicate that to us, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, you should read the book.
I will read that.
Yeah. And all of my listeners should read that book. If you are married, go read Love and Respect.
Yes, she gets some profit from it.
I do not.
That's good though. Okay, I'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
Maybe I could talk Adam into reading it too.
Yes.
We'll see.
Well, I think that's a really good stopping point for us.
Perfect.
I am so thankful that you came on today. I love getting to just have conversations with friends because we kind of never know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And
I got off topic a few times.
That is totally fine. Yes. And if you are local to the Council Bluffs, Southwest Iowa area and you are looking for a place to host your next event, please reach out to Kim for the Acres. And until next time, thank you.